Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 4, which is consist of myself, Muhammad IRHAM, and my friend that is Muhammad Mior, Muhammad NAZIF, and Muhammad NAZIF AMRI. We are going to discuss about topic 4, which is market equilibrium. In this chapter, the market is an equilibrium if at the market price the quantity demand is equal to the quantity supply. The price at which the quantity demand is equal to the quantity supply is called the equilibrium price. A market clearing price and the corresponding quantity is the equilibrium quantity. Buyer and seller meet together to make decisions on the goods and services to purchase and sell in the market. Therefore, the market is a place where both buyer and seller interact to determine the equilibrium price and quantity of goods and services exchanged. So, what is exactly the market equilibrium? Market equilibrium is a condition whereby quantity demand and quantity supply are equal. Once the market equilibrium has been achieved, there would be no tendency for the price and quantity to change. In other words, market equilibrium is a situation when buyers are willing to buy goods and services and sellers are stimulus willing to sell said goods and services. In short, market equilibrium is a stability point since the equilibrium price and quantity are already determined, and there would be no tendency for both equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity to change.
Okay, now I will talk about part A, price control after the flood. Okay, question 1. Analyze the consequences of the government setting a price ceiling. They have two consequences, which is good and bad. The good consequences is price ceiling will benefit consumer, and the bad consequences is price ceiling can make excess demand or shortage that will create problem in the local country. Okay, we move on to the question 2, which is draw a diagram showing the market for generators with an equilibrium price at 300 ringgit. Now impose a price ceiling at 200 ringgit per generator. As you can see at the graph below, we have maximum price at 200 and equilibrium price at 300, which means the shortage of a generator in full quantity. Okay, question 3. What will be the impact of the price ceiling on the quantity demanded, on the quantity supply? The answer is demand of the consumer will increase because the price is lower than usual, meaning that the demand of the generator will increase because the price cannot be manipulated. And second, quantity supplied by the producers will begin to stop or slow down, causing less supply of commodities in the market, meaning that that generator supply will decrease. Okay, question 4. Who will benefit from the price ceiling and who will be harmed? Let the graph guide your thinking. Did the price ceiling help the people it was designed to help? The answer is it will benefit the consumers because consumers can enjoy good at cheaper price and save 100 ringgit on one generator. The second one is it will harm the producer because they lost 100 ringgit per generator and they cannot raise the price to cover that loss because of price ceiling. And third, price ceiling will help the people it was designed to. Alright, question 5. Explain the economic reasoning behind your analysis. The answer is economic reasoning behind our analysis is that price ceiling are enacted in an attempt to keep price low for those who demand the product. It means that the price ceiling is the best way to control the price from exceeding the limits after the flood.
Part B. Price Control. Title: Consumers Relief over Chicken Ceiling Price. The parties that will benefit from this price ceiling is the consumers and government. The parties that will hurt from the price ceiling is the chicken sellers because they will facing a loss from the sale. The consequences is that the chicken supply will decrease because the demand will increase above their stock supply from this price ceiling. Black markets and illegal markets, since it is unprofitable to sell the commodities locally, while they can gain more profit if they smuggle up or sell it to neighbor countries. This will tend to larger excess demand or shortage and will create problem. There is no profit to be gained by the producers. They must adhere to the lower price set by the government. Producers might engage illegal and impermissible activities such as bribery, corruption, and hoarding of commodities. For example, some sellers might hoard this commodity, especially during festive season, thus creating an artificial shortage which will force the government to increase the price of commodities. In our opinion, we think that the ceiling price was the right decision because the supply of the chicken nationwide was sufficient and stable.
So the next part is part C, which is topic case study COVID-19 self-test kits now available for as low as RM6.90. So the first question is, show in appropriate diagram the position of price control on the COVID-19 test kit. So explain. So this is the graph of the question. So the explain will on the next slide. So this is the explanation for question A on part C. So the price ceiling that is set by the government is RM19.90 per unit for a test kit, while the minimum price for a test kit is RM6.19 per unit. This change of price impacts the demand to increase from the consumer while supply is decreased from the supplier. When the government sets a maximum price, consumer cannot pay more than the maximum price. When the government imposes a maximum price below the equilibrium price for COVID-19 test kit or lower than the market equilibrium price level, shortage of COVID-19 test kit exists because the quantity supplied is lower than the quantity demanded. So the next question is B, which is, in your opinion, what type of good the COVID-19 test kit is? Explain. Discuss the degree of price elasticity of demand belongs to the kit. So this is the graph for the question. So next will be the explanation for the graph and the question. So this is the explanation for part B for the graph and for the question. A change in the price of the goods causes a bigger percentage change in quantity demand. The Ministry of Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs (KPD and HCP) was told the price offered at supermarkets and convenience stores are as low as RM6.90 each, while the price at KK Supermart was only RM6.60 each. The graph shows that if the increase in demand is less than the decrease in supply, the equilibrium price will increase and equilibrium will decrease. Conversely, if the increase in demand is greater than the decrease in supply, the equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity will increase. The change in equilibrium price is greater than the change in equilibrium quantity when demand for particular goods is elastic and increase in price reduce total revenue, or a decrease in price increase total revenue. Demand for COVID-19 test kits is elastic, so an increased price reduced total revenue will happen. So the next question is question C, which is, explain factors that are contributing to the increase in demand of COVID-19 test kit. Explain with appropriate diagrams. So this is the graph for question C, as you can see. So the explanation will be in the next slide. So this is the explanation for question C, which is, the factor is some people need to fly across the border, which require COVID-19 test kit result. Another factor is we also introduce a way to self-test at home rather than check at the hospital, which increase the risk of being exposed to COVID-19. A lot of people choose to take the initiative to buy COVID-19 test kit on their own, which contributes to the increase in demand of COVID-19 test kit. Based on this graph, it shows that if increase in demand is less than the decrease in supply, the equilibrium price will increase and equilibrium quantity will decrease. On this graph, the equilibrium price will increase from P0, which is RM6.60, to P2, which is RM6.90, while the equilibrium quantity decrease from E0 to E2.
Last but not least, for our conclusion, market equilibrium is a situation where the quantity demanded equals the quantity supplied, and there is no tendency for price and quantity to increase or decrease. Shortage, excess demand. Economic reasoning behind our analysis is that price ceiling are enacted in an attempt to keep price low for those who demand the product. It means that price ceiling is the best way to control the price from exceeding the limits after the floors condition, whereby the quantity demanded is greater than the quantity supplied, and there would be an upward pressure for price to increase towards equilibrium of price. And last, surplus. Excess supply is a situation when the quantity demanded is less than the quantity supplied. In example, quantity supplied is greater than quantity demanded, and there would be a downward pressure for price. So that's all from our group. Thank you.